Live from our studio audience, it's 5 More Minutes, Mom, with your hosts, Brielle and Guerlain, on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, we got a special guest in today.
Yeah, we got a little guest star again today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 More Minutes, Mom. I am Brielle.
And I'm Guerlain.
And today is going to be a really cool episode. If you'd like, you can give us a follow on the scroller at the bottom of the screen. It has all of our social media handles and all that information. And you can give us a follow, give us a like, leave a comment. It's all down there for you. So just check it out.
Check it out, all that jazz. Yes, sir.
Okay, so today, hold on, I just gotta adjust my camera, but okay. So today is going to be a really amazing episode because we're talking about Harry Potter. We're talking about Harry Potter today, which is a really big deal to me because I love Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I grew up with the books. I grew up with the movies. I think it really shaped me as a person, and helped me become the person that I am. I'm a Ravenclaw.
Okay. So with what exactly about Harry Potter that you want to talk about that really got you to who you are now?
Okay, so first off, I do think that it's very important that we kind of make a disclaimer
Mm.
about Harry Potter because of the situation with the author J.K. Rowling. Yeah, I know. So as many people know, don't show your butt to the camera. That's very inappropriate. Okay, you're going down. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Okay, so as many people are aware, JK has made some very horrible statements, and she's said a lot of bad things, and she's aligned herself with a lot of terrible people. And for a lot of the fans, it has really colored the series in a very negative way. And obviously, by talking about Harry Potter, I don't want to endorse what she says. I don't want to agree with what she says. You know, she is spitting disgusting TERF rhetoric, anti-trans rhetoric, and I, for one, do not ascribe to that. I am LGBTQ, myself, and I know trans people, and I love trans people, and they're in my family, and so I 100% do not agree with what she has said and what she's kind of aligned her politics with. And so I just want to reiterate that we are talking about Harry Potter because, it's sad because by making these statements and by aligning herself the way that she hasn't just kind of ruined a book, but she's annihilated a culture. Because Harry Potter was a culture. It was part of the rhetoric, part of the lexicon of the late 90s, early 2000s. Everybody, Magenta, shush. Everybody and their mother knew what Harry Potter was, knew everybody had a Hogwarts house, everybody it was just it was everywhere. And pretty much universally, it was loved. People loved these books. People had nothing but respect and enjoyment for these books and for the movies. And the criticisms that people have, they weren't not there. People had criticisms of Harry Potter even at the beginning, but a lot of people overlooked them. And so it was just this wonderful thing. And so to have her come out and be this kind of awful person is very heart-wrenching to me. It really hurts a lot because, I grew up with these series. I read the first book when I was 7 or 8. And I read them as I grew up. And I grew up with Harry Potter. Like, so much I think of my personality and my morals and my values are because of those books. Because weirdly enough, for someone who has shown herself to be anti-LGBTQ, to be kind of racist, to be, weirdly conservative in her viewpoints, her books are full of messages of equality, of love, of understanding, of compassion. Like, it's so weird. That's what's so weird about it.
Mm.
Like, yes, are the goblins in Harry Potter kind of anti-Semitic? Yes. Is there like weird racism allegory-ness with the house elves? Absolutely. Like, is there a lot of like pick me girl behavior in some of the characters? Yes, that's absolutely true. But overall, the books are so positive and so like liberal, so it's so weird that she's like become this kind of person.
Plot twist, turns out that she didn't actually write or make any of this. She just
No,
put
she
her name
did.
on
She did. We
imagine
can't
though.
we can't separate we can't, death of the author this. Unfortunately, we have to contend with the fact that she wrote the books and she was
Mm,
in charge, and when you buy things that are Harry Potter, she gets money.
mm.
Just a heads up to people buying a video game. Do what you want, but I'm just saying, she gets money and she doesn't need more money. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like the disclaimer, and I wanted to kind of get that out of the way. Because what I do want to talk about is the good things about Harry Potter, which are what I was saying, like those ideas of equality, of resistance, of friendship, of love, that I think is what we should be taking from this whole thing. We should be kind of looking at the stories and what they kind of hold up as amazing things, or powerful things.
Mm.
Did you
So
did you finish watching all the movies? I made Gerlin because we never left time to read the books, but I made Gerlin watch all the movies. Did you watch all the movies?
I didn't get to all of them. I think no, I think I stopped or I wasn't able to get to the last two.
Okay.
Part the two-parter,
Yeah, Deathly
7.
Hallows.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for watching all the movies.
It was interesting because I've never obviously I never watched Harry Potter. I never read any of the books.
Mhm.
Um, the most I was exposed to it was just the commercials that was show promoting whatever movie was out at the time.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I just never got into it, but I'm interested to hear like how like knowing you outside the podcast. Obviously, we're friends.
Yeah.
I know how much you adore Harry Potter, but
Yeah.
I am like really interested to really get into it, like how
Yeah.
much it really did help shape who you are today.
I a lot of people, so it's funny because like a lot of people make fun of like the idea of like calling yourself like I'm a Ravenclaw, like they make fun of it now because it's
Mm,
fun to make fun of things when they're bad, but like as if everybody didn't have a Hogwarts house growing up. Um but I actually really commend the idea of Hogwarts houses because we as a society, we as like a species, really like the idea of labels and of labeling ourselves and of, putting ourselves in boxes to understand who we are. And so for little kids, like because Harry Potter is at the end of the day a children's book,
mm.
technically, even though those later books are like bricks. But like to like a 10-year-old kid, it's fun to be like, I'm a Gryffindor, let's play Harry Potter. I'm a Gryffindor, so I'm brave, I'm a Ravenclaw, so I'm smart,
Mm,
and so I think that also, and also like the fact that everybody knew Harry Potter, everybody read it basically. It was such an easy way to make friends. It was such an easy way to meet people because you know, for a lot of kids, it was as easy as saying like, "Hey, do you want to play Harry Potter at recess?" And you could play Harry
mm,
Potter at recess, because everyone would know what you were talking about. You know, but with Harry Potter, the story of Harry Potter is ultimately one of equality. You know, Voldemort is like, I want to kill all the Muggleborns, I want to kill all the Muggles. I only want wizards and I only want pureblood wizards to exist. And Harry, who is half-blood, his mother was a Muggle witch and his father was a pureblood wizard. You know, he kind of goes up against him with his friends who are all different kinds of people, all different types of configurations of their blood and everything, and they win. They're the good guys, and they're shown to be the good guys, and throughout the books, we're told multiple times that pureblood wizards are not the best, and that, you know, Muggle-born wizards are just as capable of doing anything else, and, you know, the idea of equality is so hammered into those books that I think it's not surprising that, like, our generation, well, not perfect, um, is so, I think, entrenched in the whole equal rights debate and you know, the want for equal rights for everybody, regardless of race, regardless of gender,
Mm,
because it was modeled to us in these books, you know. And
right.
no, granted, they're not perfect because you can definitely bring up spew. So it's not in the movies, but in the books, Hermione basically sees the house elves and she's like, oh, they're slaves, which they are. And she wants to free them. Like
Right.
Dobby is a slave, and she wants to free them. And everybody kind of makes fun of her for that, that she wants to like free the house elves, because in the book, the house elves are like happy to be slaves, which is like really problematic when you stop and think about it.
Right.
So
Wow.
there's that, you
Okay.
know, that kind of is a little off kilter with the equality, but ultimately, you know, it, you know, and in other ways, the book is a little homogenous. Like, there are characters of color in the book, obviously, but like, for all intents and purposes, our main cast is white. Most of the characters are white, and most of the characters are like white Christians, you know. Although I have seen headcanons that Hermione is black, which I 100% ascribe to. I love that idea that Hermione is black, and that Harry is like Indian or like part Indian,
Mm,
because it would give the Dursleys more reason to dislike him. Like, not even that he's like a wizard, but like he's like Indian or Pakistani or something, and that gives them more reason to dislike him.
okay.
Yeah, so that I really like. I like those headcanons. Um, but yeah, and so Harry Potter, at the end of the day, you said you haven't seen the last movie, so unfortunately I'm going to spoil it. But at the end of the day, Harry Potter is saved by love. Voldemort tries to kill him, and he almost succeeds, but he ends up failing because of the love of Harry's mother, the love of Harry's friends, and the love of Draco Malfoy's mother is what saves him. So like so like these books taught me and taught our generation the importance of love and the importance of caring about people beyond things like, you know, where they're from or maybe like who their parents are, and like, and that ultimately love of every kind overcomes evil. And I think that's so important. And yes, it's a kids book, so of course the good guys win, but you can't be surprised at how our generation is when it comes to like the way that like we're breaking down masculinity and toxic masculinity and encouraging people to be more open and loving with their friends, the fact that we have gentle parenting and we're encouraging people to like be more understanding and loving towards their kids, when this is what was modeled to us.
Hmm.
You know, when Harry Potter was literally saved by his mother's love that created like a magical like barrier around him, and saved by the fact that Narcissa Malfoy, who by all intents and purposes should hate Harry Potter, loves her son so much that she's willing to like turn her back on Voldemort, turn her back on, you know, her family, and save Harry to save her own son. So it's like, you know, these books I think do have really wonderful messages,
Hmm.
you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So on the playground, like,
Yeah.
did you actually have those type of games, or like you like someone
Uh
would be a Ravenclaw and whatnot?
Yeah, sort of.
Mm,
So, my friend at the time, who unfortunately I'm not friends with anymore, but that's beside the point. My friend at the time, she loved Harry Potter too, so we would always play like Harry Potter. Not at recess, like we'd go to her house and we'd like pretend we were on the Hogwarts Express. We would pretend, and we were doing like self insert before like we knew what that was.
Mm.
But we were like meeting Harry Potter. We were like doing spells with Ron and everything. And because oh my god, I had such a crush on Rupert Grint. Oh my god. I mean, we already talked about how I had a crush on Dan Radcliffe, and then I had a crush on Rupert Grint, and then I had a crush on Donald Gleason, love of my life. Um, but yeah, but isn't it interesting too that like some of my first crushes were also from Harry Potter? Like this book was everywhere, and these movies were everywhere.
Right.
Like it was truly a cultural phenomenon, and it was a mostly positive cultural phenomenon, you know?
Mm. So reading these books and watching these films, did
Mhm.
it start any interesting conversations within the household? Like you saw something or you read something and you went to your
Um,
parents questioning stuff or
so my mom actually read the books.
Mm.
She kind of read them alongside me. Like I remember when we got the last book, we actually when we got the last book, we only got one copy, because they were only selling the hardcover and I have the soft covers, my mom has the hardcover, so we only got one. So I took the book and I read like half of it and then I went to bed and then my mom read the other half and I had to wait for her to be done with her half so I could finish reading it. And we like traded off. And yes. What? Shh. What? You know, it's so funny. She'll like be quiet all day, and then the second that I'm trying to do something, she'll be like, "Oh, I have stuff to say too."
Let me join the podcast.
Yeah, and she's so noisy. Like she really is. It's hilarious. Anyway, so it's it's funny because like I feel like we didn't really have like we definitely talked about the books, like we definitely talked about like theories, like what we think is going to happen next. But we didn't necessarily like talk about like let's talk about racism using Harry Potter. Like we didn't really do that, I think, because I was raised in a fairly liberal household without that sort of like, you know, I knew that it was like wrong to judge someone based on the color of their skin.
Right.
Um but my family did often have conversations about Harry Potter, and my family was always very, like, accepting of my, like, obsession with Harry Potter, you know, like, I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Florida with my aunt and uncle, and, you know, like, they bought me, you know, like, you know, a shirt and stuff, and, you know, I dressed up as a Harry Potter character for Halloween, like, a bunch of different times, and they were always, like, super supportive and into it with me. Like my whole family liked Harry Potter. Like my mom, my aunts read the book and my, you know, uncle loved the movies and so, you know, we were a very Harry Potter family.
That's cute.
Mhm.
Huh. All right. So like me watching the films and from what I can remember because I was just like trying to get through them. Uh it was I could definitely see a lot of what you're saying and how you got what you got out of them. Um I would say during that scene where Dobby, right? The slave,
The house elf, yeah.
the house elf, when he I wanted to knock him out because he was kind of annoying me in
Yes.
what was that the beginning either the second or the third film when he was like
Oh, and
trying to
you
stop.
haven't seen the last film, so oh, you really need to watch last film because Dobby's in it and he's great. It's
Oh,
wonderful. He
he's better.
comes
Okay,
back.
okay.
He comes back.
I thought you were gonna tell me like he betrayed Harry
No,
or
no, no.
something.
He's always a good guy and he comes back and it's very touching.
Okay, that's good.
I know something you don't know.
But in that one scene when he like, kept making so much noise and
Yeah,
trying to stop Harry from going back to Hogwarts, I was like, Come on, dude!
yeah.
Like
Um,
if anything, you're making him want to go to Hogwarts even more because
yeah.
he like, it didn't make
I
any
was
sense.
always like, Harry just should have lied. He should have been like, "Okay, Dobby, I won't go back
Yeah,
to Hogwarts."
that's what I was thinking too,
Yeah,
especially with the cake. I was like, just
yeah.
no, just yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, Yeah, Dobby's a fun character. I like
Mm,
Dobby, and he's in the books more. Like you get to see more of him, and he like really becomes someone that Harry really cares about and loves throughout the books.
okay.
Like for example, I don't hate this choice. In the movies, in the fourth movie, Neville gives Harry the gillyweed so he can swim in the lake. Which I don't hate that choice because Neville's great, and I like that they kind of did more with him. But in the books, it's actually Dobby who gives Harry the gillyweed so he can swim in
Mm.
the lake. So he's like in the books more, and he does more with Harry and everything. He becomes a lot more important in the books. But unfortunately, the movies kind of really condense a lot because they have
Because
to.
all the CG.
Yeah, they have to. Sometimes, in some ways that I don't agree with. I think that they skip a lot of stuff, but it is what it is. Um, who's your favorite character?
Let me see. I I thought what's his face? I don't remember his name. It was the professor um that was an Arthur. He was like he postured himself as if he was like this big shot.
Oh, Gilderoy Lockhart?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's great. He's so funny.
He was funny, and I like how when he walked into class, the portrait of himself was like admiring, like he was like, "Oh yeah, we're so good looking" or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. He was cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I really did like I like Ron.
Yeah, Ron's a good character. He's a really good character. I like
He's a
Ron.
good character, and I like seeing him getting older,
Yeah.
and
He's even better
and
in the
that.
book.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, because unfortunately the movies kind of turned him into strictly comic relief,
Yeah.
and kind of the dumb one. But in the books, he serves a really important purpose because he's pure blood and he's been in the wizarding world his whole life. So he provides a lot of good like context for Harry and Hermione of things that they may not know about the wizarding world. So
Mm.
he serves that purpose actually, and he's great about that too.
They okay, so they took all that and they mainly put that in his family because like his parents were really
Yeah,
no.
they give it to his family, and they also give it to Hermione a lot. They
Yes.
make her this, like, unbelievable expert, and it's like, a lot of times she doesn't know things, um, but it's a movie, so, no, that's yeah, Ron's a good character.
Mm. It was
My favorite character, that's a hard one.
mm,
I really like, I really okay, I really like I really like Ron. I really like Fred and George.
yeah.
I really um I really like Floor. She also does more in the books and I like her in the books a lot more than in the movies. But I like Floor. Um I also really like Luna. I love Luna. She's probably I think my favorite. Luna's probably my favorite because, she's so goddamn weird and I just love her.
Which one was Luna was
She's the blonde one, the like weird spacey one. She's friends with Ginny.
okay, okay.
Yeah. I love her. She's great. Um yeah.
It's an interesting franchise.
It
Uh
is.
and I was thinking too, like if Harry Potter was responsible for the buzz around like magic stuff at
Oh,
that time.
absolutely.
Like I think Wizards of Waverly Place, like
Yeah,
there was
all of that, like, everything that followed, like, Harry Potter, like, I'm not gonna say that, like, things were copying because it wasn't a copy, but I think the trend that followed in YA books of, like, separating people by things, like in The Hunger Games, it's by district, and I think there another one, it was by personality, like, the idea of separating people by specific traits came from Harry Potter. The whole idea of just wizards and wizarding schools maybe didn't originate with Harry Potter, but it definitely became more popular because of Harry Potter. And I think the idea of like children's literature changed because of Harry Potter, because adults
Mhm.
were reading these books too. Like, and proudly reading these books, not even like pretending. So I think Harry Potter gave a lot of legitimacy to the children's literature kind of genre. in a way that maybe didn't exist before. No, I'm not a historian or an expert, but you can't deny that, like, reading went up when Harry Potter came out. Like, everybody was reading and it was so great. Librarians loved Harry Potter because it was making all these kids read these books. And when they finished Harry Potter, they read Series of Unfortunate Events, or they read Percy Jackson, or they read this, or they read that. So, like, I think ultimately that Harry Potter, like, did some really good stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what is like the main, if you can name like 2 or 3 things of like key lessons that Harry Potter like that sticks with you to this day, like as like something happens in real life and you go, huh, like this kind of reminds me of what happened in this story, and like,
Right.
wow, it really still holds true today or whatnot.
Okay. So I don't remember if they really talk about it in the movie, but in the book, in the fifth book and movie, Sirius dies.
Hmm.
And it's very sad. Um, and the reason that he dies there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons that he dies is because Harry flees his house and sees the house elf Creature. And he asks Creature where Sirius is, and Creature lies and makes Harry think that Sirius is at the ministry, and he's not, and then he gets killed by Bellatrix. And Harry, when that happens, is so mad at Creature. He's like, why did Creature lie? Like, why was Creature such an asshole? And Dumbledore says that the reason Creature lied is because Sirius treated Creature poorly. And to know the measure of a man, you have to look at how not he treats his like friends, but how he treats his inferiors.
Mm.
And that lesson has always stuck with me because it's true. Because Sirius was a good guy, but he was a very complicated person, and it was his cruelty and his bitterness, I think, that he had towards his family that lingered in him, that was one of the reasons that he passed away, that he
Mm.
died. And so that lesson has always stuck with me. Um,
That's a good
and
one.
I think something else that kind of stuck with me is the with Harry Potter is the idea that bad guys can be good and good guys can be bad in
Mm.
different ways. So, like, the best example is the idea. So, this is also going to be a little spoiler because you haven't seen the last movie, but Snape, who is a terrible person, let's be completely honest. Like, he's a terrible person. Um, was keeping Harry safe, and ultimately, Snape was a good guy, not a nice guy, but a good guy.
Right.
Um, but he was nasty, he was cruel, he was very dismissive, he worked with children and he was terrible towards them. But everything that he ultimately did overall helped with the efforts of the war, helped protect Harry, helped protect other people. And so
Right.
that was very, and then Dumbledore, who we're told throughout the book is a really good guy, and Harry like idolizes him and loves him and even names his son after him, which, like, what? Oh yeah, in the last movie and in the last book, there's an epilogue that everyone kind of hates, where we meet Harry's kids, and Harry names his second son. His first son is named James after his dad. His second son is named Albus Severus. Eh, what a terrible name for a child.
That is a terrible name.
Because,
Yeah.
like, Snape dies, in the book, and in the movie, he dies, like, protecting Harry, so I guess
Mm.
Harry's like, "Well, okay." Even though, like, the only reason you ever cared about me in any capacity is because I literally have my mother's eyes and you were creepily obsessed with my mom. Sure,
Wow.
I'll name my kid after you. Even though you made my life hell multiple times for multiple years and you, like, bullied my friends. Sure, whatever. You loved my mom. That's good enough for me. Anyway,
Weird. Okay.
Dumbledore,
Mm.
you find in the last book and in the last movie, was basically raising Harry as a lamb to slaughter.
Mm.
He knew ahead of time that Harry might have to die, probably have to die. He knew that going in. And so he did a lot of things that were very manipulative and very underhanded in order to kind of raise Harry the way that he needed Harry to be raised. And also in the last book, we find out that in his youth, he definitely changed, but in his youth, he was very like pro pureblood and like no muggleborns because of like a lot of trauma, but like that was a thing.
Mm.
And, ultimately, Dumbledore was a good guy and Harry loved him, but he did a lot of like bad shit.
Mm.
He did a lot of really underhanded shit. And he, didn't tell Harry a lot of stuff when he should have. And he kind of, acted as if his age both granted him the right to not say things and also forgave him the right to not say things. And so that's something that I also learned from Harry Potter, that people are very, there's no good or evil. There's people have a lot of different shades of gray to them,
Hmm.
And that was something that I think I learned from Harry Potter, that people can do good things for the wrong reasons and they can do bad things for what they think are, the correct reasons. And, and nobody's perfect, I think, is something that I learned from Harry Potter. And people are flawed and they, yeah.
Interesting. I guess the same thing could be said about J.K. Rowling, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at this
Like,
point, I think she's doing more harm than good, but,
well, yeah.
but
I
yeah,
guess
but see, that's why it's so baffling to me that she like feels the way that she feels. I'm like, babe, bestie,
Mhm.
did you read what you wrote? Like, did you even read what you wrote, bestie? Was it all just a blur and then like Quidditch? Like,
Who knows?
yeah, but yeah, so it hurts very deeply, I think, sometimes to think about Harry Potter, because I don't want to align myself with her politics, but I can't deny that Harry Potter made me into the person that I am. And I think personally that I'm a very good person. And I try to be.
Mm.
And I think it's because ultimately the messages of Harry Potter were good. And so it's a really weird, like, in my brain about Harry Potter, because I'll always love it, but it has a kind of bittersweet like tang to it now.
Yeah,
What house
understandable
do you
as
think
well.
you'd be in?
Me?
Yeah.
Uh, I was leaning more towards Ravensclaw.
That's what I thought too. I was like, you're very creative,
Mm.
and you're very smart. Like I think you'd be Ravenclaw. I think you could also be a Slytherin,
Mm.
because I think that you have like you work really hard in the things that interest you, and I think that you have a lot of loyalty for your friends, but I don't think it's like blind loyalty, you know?
Ooh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, and everybody can be, yeah.
Everyone's a mixture of something.
Yeah, in all honesty, yeah,
Mm.
and Harry Potter, maybe, like, assigning children personality types at 11 isn't the best way to do it, but here
You
considering, like,
think?
the rivalry between the houses and, like, there wasn't a witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin, and that's, like, bad, like,
Right.
um, but yeah, okay, anything else you wanna say about Harry Potter?
No, just that it was an interesting watch, and um, yeah, I'm happy that you got a lot of good out of it,
Yeah.
because that's the important thing.
Yeah, and I hope that everyone else kind of like my peers I know got a lot of good out of it. So many great things were started because of Harry Potter, and I think, we have to remember that at the end of the day. Um, Now I'm going up to bed before either one of you gets us killed or worse, expelled.
She was great. I like
Yeah.
her.
Oh man. Okay, so I think we're done. So at the bottom of the screen, we're gonna have a little roller that has all of our social media handles. Please give us a like, follow, comment, tell us what house you're in. Ooh. Tell us your favorite character, maybe tell us, your favorite part of the book or the movie. Write how much you dislike J.K. Rowling and how she's a yucky turf and we don't like that. Hey, post links to your fanfic. I want to read it. Unless it's Dramini. I don't hate it, but I'm not really into Dramini, so I don't want to read that. Okay, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.